"I spy a blue-tongued lizard," cried Bindi, turning to her best friend Rosie and holding up her palm. "High five, mate." The girls high-fived, diddling with excitement. "That makes the straw 7 to us and 6 to Richard. We are so going to win," continued Bindi. The friends turned triumphantly to Rosie's dad, Richard, who was walking up the bush track behind them. "There's an old saying goes, 'Don't count your chickens before they hatch,'" cautioned Richard. "In any case, unless you know the animal's scientific name, it doesn't count." He smiled. Then he strode past the girls, making his way farther up the mountain. "That's not fair." Bindi couldn't believe it. She had thought she and Rosie would finally beat Richard in the game of I Spy Wildlife. "That you're just trying to cheat because we're winning," said Rosie, as she caught up to her father, with Bindi close behind. "2 against 1 isn't fair either. But you don't see me accusing anyone of cheating." Richard looked at his daughter with a twinkle in his eyes. "Nor do I think you really saw a rare spotted eagle about an hour ago. But as we have no video referee, I'll have to give you the benefit of the doubt." Richard walked on, oblivious to the two friends exchanging glances and smiling. Was there anything Richard didn't know about animals? Some families played the regular game of I Spy, but the Irwin and the Bellamy families preferred their own animal-specific version. After all, they had lots of practice. On this early morning, the three teen walkers were hiking up Mount Nadudun in the glass house of mountains near Australia Zoo. It was one of Bindi's favorite things to do. She loved being outside and seeing animals in the wild. Bindi also loved hanging out with Rosie and Richard. Rosie's dad was strong and athletic and always up for anything. He especially liked to win at games and never lost on purpose to save hurt feelings. No, he was ruthless in his animal spotting, and it made Bindi and Rosie all determined to beat him. Bindi raced on and soon overtook Richard. She figured that if she and Rosie reached the lookout before him, they might have more chances of spotting animals. His height definitely put him at an advantage of seeing birds. "Wait for me," told Rosie as she caught up with Bindi. The two girls puffed as they scrambled towards the lookout. "Come on, Dad. Good things come to those who wait," said Richard as he continued leisurely. It was already a very hot day, and the last steep push to the top was hard-going. Bindi could feel the sweat trickling down her arms, her legs, and the back of her neck. They couldn't have done the hike any later on a day like this. They would risk heat exhaustion and dehydration. Not to mention having zero chance of seeing animals. They had all have sensibly found refuge in the shade. The girls were out of breath and red-faced by the time they reached the lookout. They both took a big swig and from their water bottle. "Look," Bindi pointed to the other peak of the distance. "Mount Trebogan looks just like King Kong." The two friends marveled at the view of the majestic mountain peak to the east. They could see the sun coming up behind it, over the Pacific Ocean. "Wow, it's really windy up here," said Rosie, looking at the trees bending in the wind. It wasn't a refreshing breeze either, but a warm, blustery one. Bindi spun around, taking in the view of the surrounding bush and mountain peaks. Something to the west caught her eyes. "Oh no, what is it?" asked Rosie, and turned to see where Bindi was looking. Bindi suddenly pointed into the distance. The stunning view was obscured by a thick haze of smoke. The friends stared at each other in dismay. Richard finally approached the top. His face and neck were wet with sweat. What a day! It's got to be 80 degrees already and it's only 8 a.m. He mopped his face. Dad, we've got some bad news, said Rosie. Richard laughed. Don't tell me you've seen 3 more animals and won the game. He chuckled. I can take defeat gracefully. Rosie pointed and Richard turned to stare at the thick mass of smoke. Even as they watched, it grew darker and spread farther across the national park. The high temperatures and strong westerly winds were fanning the flames of fire. Oh dear, Richard's expression was serious. As head of the Australian Wildlife Hospital, Richard was well aware that a fire in this kind of bush could mean hundreds of displaced and injured animals, to say nothing of threatening the homes and property of people who live in the area. He turned to the friends with a grim expression on his face. We'd better hurry back, girls. It will be will it will be all hands on deck at the wildlife hospital. Richard took one last look at the fire and turned to make his way down the path at a brisk pace. Bindi and Rosie hurried after the vet. All thoughts of their earlier game had vanished. The sooner they got to the hospital, the better.